So the main problem with bow dagger in small scale PvP that we've been experiencing lately is a lack of damage and threat compared to other similar builds like spear dagger, expo dagger, and greatsword dagger. Even in large scale, bow is used as more of an offhand weapon for flash wave with meta builds such as staff bow. So essentially bow dagger is almost like a double offhand build. You simply don't have the same level of fear or urgency that other builds have. You often can see this in arena where if it's a healer group fighting another healer group and one group has a bow dagger, the main strategy is going to be just ignore the bow dagger and kill the other DPS. The bow dagger by itself does not have enough DPS, burst, or CC to kill someone with a pocket healer nearby. Basically no team synergy. So we have to look at why this is the case and why this wasn't the case about a month or two ago. Well, for starters, majority of builds are now stacking ranged evasion and ranged endurance. This is because majority of those players have PTSD from bow and expo, and rightfully so honestly. The predominant main damage source that used to kill you in both small scale and large scale was range damage. On top of that, the overall HP is now higher due to the Ruin update, making the bow DPS rotation less bursty. Before Ruins, you could take maybe 50 to 70% of someone's HP in a rotation. Nowadays, it's common to just see maybe 30% HP lost in that same rotation. And since you need multiple DPS rotations to kill the average player now, there is a small period of time between each rotation where you have no damage going out. If you play bow dagger yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Fucking fireworks in the background, Jesus Christ. I'm waiting for it to go away. They just keep going. Okay, fireworks are over. The final thing, which is pretty ironic honestly, is bow shield. Bow shield prevents surprise deaths, so now you struggle ambushing other bow players before they get healed or helped by teammates. Which I want to point out, by the way, I even straight up said when they announced the quotation mark shield nerf that it was actually just a huge buff for us. They turned the conditional shield into something that's guaranteed to proc and increased the value of it. I forgot what it was before, but it's something like 2 to 3 times more from what I remember. I had people panicking in my Discord asking what I'm gonna replace with it when it was announced. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. There's no way you're gonna replace the skill. It's gonna be mandatory in every build. And of course, it is mandatory in every build. But anyways, we can go back to the cons of bow dagger and everything. Because of all this, bow dagger has sort of lost its unique role. We have expo dagger, which is a ranged assassin. We have greatsword dagger, which is a melee CC assassin. Spear dagger, which is a ranged assassin that does fucking melee damage. Staff dagger is just a magic assassin with AoE burst. And bow dagger, best way I can describe it, is not enough burst to be an assassin, not enough range or disengages to be a backline DPS. You know, other MMOs we have a skill that just you shoot backwards and to create distance. We don't have that in this game. I wish we did. I would love for Flash Wave to be replaced with a skill like that, honestly. I honestly don't even think Flash Wave makes much sense on a bow. Like when I look at that skill and the role of it, it reminds me of something like a mage would have. But off topic. With this build that I made, however, we turned bow dagger back into an assassin. But not into an assassin that's a cheap knockoff of an expo dagger. It's basically a less bursty expo dagger, but with heals. We go back here and we address 3 things with this new build, or at least try to. If everyone is building high into range defense, then we should change our rotation to do more melee damage. You don't have to worry about your melee hit chance if no one is building melee evasion. And if you do come across the 1% of people who build melee evasion, you'll just destroy them with bow, because there's always a catch with these melee evasion builds. They either do no damage or they're squishy as fuck to everything besides melee. This is only for tier 1, I can't speak for tier 2 gear. And ruins and artifacts, like things start getting a lot more complicated when you start talking about that, but I like to talk in the present. We're talking about current tier 1 gear with blue ruins. The whole point of this combo is that you can fit in a double man dance and an execute while the person is prone from ankle strike. This is a small scale build, so the skill I replaced to be able to do this is Flash Wave, which also opened up a lot of the skill spec points to do what I want with them. You have to use Mad Dance because this is single target, while the unspec'd skill goes to every nearby target. It's pretty shit. And then we go with the full Thundercloud route, and you get up to 12 stacks I believe from this combo alone. Not really a lot of endurance loss here, but the main reason you want these stacks in the first place is your execute damage gets boosted for each stack. At the end of the day, you're dealing more damage than a non-stack execute. Now obviously there's other variations of this combo and you're free to do it. A lot of people use Moonlight instead of Dance, for example. A lot of people use all three of these skills. What I don't like about using all three of the skills is that at that point you're building to fight only range players, because you are not going to out melee a greatsword or a spear, for example, outside of when they're CC'd. You're just going to die. With my combo, you're not trying to out melee anyone. You're jumping in, doing your combo while they're knocked down, and then dipping out right after. However, the requirement for doing this is a lot of attack speed. If you don't have enough attack speed, they can dodge before you do execute. So how much attack speed do you exactly need? Well, it depends. So first off, I'm using the quest log attack per second stat as a baseline here, because the in-game stat is bugged and is unreliable. I'm also assuming everyone is using the attack speed food, which, by the way, if you didn't know, you can combine it with any offensive food you want. For me, I needed 0.43 attack speed to be able to do this combo, but I'm also a West Coast California player on an East Coast server, so I'm the very extreme case here. I've edited all the small scale builds to account for this new attack speed, but obviously it's set to my standard. If you find that you can do the combo on 0.45, you have a bit more luxury than me. You can get a little more evasion instead, or more HP, etc. That's completely up to you. My Tevent build especially, I needed way more dex to hit the 0.43, so I swapped the hit chance from the head to the chest and saw a pretty good opportunity here to get some 10% cooldown speed, which Bo also desperately needs, and we're addressing that first point that I was originally talking about. So all in all, I am very happy with the new build. I've only lost 2k HP and 100 magic evasion, which is the least common damage that's going to be hitting you anyway. But I practically doubled my burst.